Hey folks, how's everybody doing out there? Hope you're doing well. Welcome to tonight's show. I'm going to talk about a viewer who sent me a message. He's here in the Philippines. His girlfriend, he and his girlfriend are expecting a baby, and things aren't exactly what he perceived them to be. I'm just going to talk about his dilemma, okay? Is the Philippines as cheap as you think it's going to be to live here? Number two, your lady winds up pregnant. Does that change things? Does that change your retirement plans? Not even retirement plans. Does it change your plans? Where should you raise the child? Here, America, hybrid of in between? If that interests you, any of those topics interest you, then welcome to tonight's show. So anyhow, thanks for joining me. Thanks for my friend's email. And man, it was a couple months ago. It's a couple months ago. Folks, I get comments and emails just coming in like this. Obviously, I can't respond to everyone. And sometimes it takes me a while to say, hey, wait a minute. I remember that one comment. It would be great to talk about right now. So I'm going to change a few facts to obviously protect my friend's identity. And again, anything I talk about on my show, folks, it's just to invoke thought. All I want to do is invoke thought. You will learn more down in the comment section than you'll learn from this guy, because you'll have many sources weighing in on the topic. So I'm just here to invoke thought, not telling you what to do. I'm just throwing in my 2 cents, setting the forum and the platform for everybody to try to weigh in on the subject. Okay, I'm currently in the Philippines, about to become a dad, and I'm freaking out. I didn't expect this to happen, so I'm questioning whether or not it was divine intervention or if it was just me being careless. Okay, all right, that's a valid thought. A valid concern. You know, you punch out, you come over here thinking you're going to be laid up on a beach, drinking beer, sitting in the bars at night, swinging in a hammock, enjoying the sunshine, right? That's what everybody dreams about. Palm trees, the beach, the sand, every postcard, every picture sitting on folks' desks who are dreaming about retirement or getting out of the matrix or the grind. There's a beach scene. Then you come over to a place like the PI or wherever, you know, Central America, the Bahamas, the Caribbean, wherever, right? So you get there, and then all of a sudden you're living life with this beautiful local girl, this island girl, and then next thing you know, she comes up pregnant. Well, if you didn't plan on that happening, obviously that's a big change. Having children is a big change. It's going to be a huge lifestyle change, period, full stop. Don't matter what country you're in or where you're at. Now, there is a huge difference in having kids in America versus having kids here. In America, it costs you a small absolute fortune just to have the child at the hospital. When you leave America, it doesn't, okay? So that's a huge difference. It's not like, oh my God, is my insurance gonna pay? You're searching through insurance paperwork. I mean, folks, we spent what, 3 days in the hospital, C-section, private room. It was like $1,600. Okay, so there's a huge difference in the financial impact and the holy crap factor when your girlfriend says, hey, I'm pregnant. No need to go out and jump off the Empire State Building because you think you can't pay the bill. That's not the case here. So that's one thing that is a lot different, is that initial, hey, the cost of having a child. It's not going to break the bank. Now, raising a child, well, that's a different story. So he didn't plan on having kids, all right? But here he goes, going to be a dad. And I'm not sure if he says, maybe this is his first child. So that's even more worrying. Guys like me, old single dad, This dude who wrote a book over in Thailand, he called us second time, not secondhand, he called us second time dads. You know, my new term is old single dad, whatever. You know, guys like me who have grown children and then we start over at a later age in life. For me, it's not, for guys like me, it's not so, not the word traumatic, but the concept is not so shocking. Why? We've already been down this road. We've already changed 1 million diapers, have been down the road, got the t-shirt. It's not as shocking. But if you, especially if you come over, your girlfriend is pregnant, you're a first-time dad, you have no idea what's about to transpire, you're in a different country, have no idea about the medical situation, healthcare. Okay, it is shocking. So I don't know if this gentleman's got kids in his home country or if this is his first time. Maybe it's his first time. Okay, he's been running for, let's just say $800 a month. And I'm starting to question if this lifestyle is sustainable. Now, if you say $800 a month, a lot of places in America, well, that's very cheap, right? But for here, $800 a month, they're living in a house similar to ours. They're living in a Western style house for that much money. Now, if you go back to one of our most popular videos, we lived in a $28 per month, what I call the beach condo. Back then it was 1,500 pesos a month. It came out to be roughly 28 bucks. Our electric bill was $7 because we didn't have an air con or a refrigerator. We had like, what, 2 lights? And we lived it was under a mango tree. So we stayed cool all the time. So the rent that they're paying is similar to what we're in here. They're living a comfortable lifestyle. They're not living in a bamboo hut, sweating, all right? So just throw that out there. But he says, I thought it would offer a softer landing, but the costs add up quickly, okay? That's something that a lot of folks don't understand, okay? They watch these videos, cost of living, blah, 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 in whatever country. How much does it cost? It's a huge search term. I could sit here and just do nothing but cost of living videos every day and get 3 times the views that I get now, okay? Because everybody wants to know, how much does it cost to live in the Philippines? How much does it cost to live in Thailand? That's so subjective. It's like saying, how much does it cost to live in the United States? Okay? But people, when they search for these smaller countries, they're just not thinking, okay? It's so subjective. So what did I come up with? Years ago, I came up with the 1, 2, 3 rule. If you come over here and you live like a local, you don't drink, you don't smoke, you don't chase women, you can survive on 1,000 US dollars per month here, and many people do. But you're living like a local. Now, some people argue with me and say, oh, I live on much less than that. You might, but not over time. Over time, it's going to add up to that and more. Okay, for example, somebody dies back in the States, now boom, you're at $1,000 on plane tickets, easy. These days, more than that, right? Hotel, rental car, you're at a small fortune if you have to go back to your home country, which is coming out of your budget. So all of a sudden, that little $1,000 a month, oh, I'm gonna live $1,000 a month over in the Philippines. Okay, Coachise, but you've got a lot of, I don't say emergency, because they're really not emergencies. You're gonna have family members pass away, you're gonna have business that you have to go back to your home country, and you're not factoring in these trips and these pitfalls and unexpected things happening, which over time says you can't survive on 1,000 US dollars per month if you spreadsheet it. This is a great thing about spreadsheets. Spreadsheets and numbers don't lie. Moving forward, if you drink and smoke, $2,000 a month, okay? If you drink, smoke, and chase the ladies on Walking Street every night, $3K a month, that's what it costs, all right? And that is so subjective, right? It's so very subjective. But I'm gonna tell you this. I don't think anybody has moved here or Thailand or anywhere else and said, okay, I can live for $1,000 a month and it only costs them 400. And they're like, holy shit, man, it's a lot cheaper to live here than I thought. I'm banking money every month. I don't think many people have said that. Okay, if you think you're gonna move here on 1,000, you probably need to double it. Okay, now I used to do construction, a little contracting, whatever. If you think a project is gonna take you, it's gonna cost you $1 million in 6 months, you better double it, and that's more close to being realistic as to when that project's gonna finally be finished and you hand off the keys. You know, when it comes to change orders and delays on materials and rain delays. So it's the same way with figuring out what your lifestyle is going to be. If you're squeaking into that $1,000 a month and that's all you got, it's going to be rough for you. You can do it, but you might be eating a lot of rice. Okay? So he says he figured it would be a softer landing, and I think that's what a lot of people find out when they come here. Electricity in the Philippines is not cheap. Housing is not as cheap and available and as nice in a place as if you compare it to a place like Thailand. Much cheaper to live over there. Food's much cheaper. Everything's much cheaper. But there's pros and cons everywhere you go. You know, immigration here, a lot easier to deal with. But let's not get into that debate. Anyhow, the point is he thought it was going to be a lot cheaper. Found out it ain't. He's spending more money than he planned on. You know, after being in the workforce, I'm hesitant about returning to the States, getting back into the grind. Hey, it's difficult. It would be a difficult pill to swallow if you become accustomed to living a certain lifestyle and then boom, you got to go back to the grind. That's being absolute Captain Obvious. Now, I look at it a little bit different, okay? When I first started thinking and planning, hey, I'm moving to Thailand, it's inevitable. I'm moving to Thailand. This is years ago. And you go through all these things in your mind about why you can't do it, right? You'll come up with these bullshit, oh, I don't have health insurance, I don't have dental insurance, how am I going to get a car? I mean, you come up with all these reasons, right? And then you finally realize, hey, there's other Americans living there. It ain't that big of a deal, you fool. But you'll go through these little things. And my buddy, the J-Dog, said, hey, look, bro. He said, you're young. What's the worst that can happen is that you go to Thailand at an early age. You're still young, fighting shape. Ain't nothing wrong with your yang. You get over there, blow it out, have the time of your life. After 5 years, go broke. And you got to get on a plane, come back to America, and go back to work. Where's the downside in that? Where's the downside of retiring, if you want to use that word, of taking that time when I'm actually active and enjoying my life, instead of trying to do it when I'm 65 or 70, and I got to get a wheelchair to roll me down to Soy Bacau. Anyhow, so that's what he said. He said, man, worst case that happens, you go over there, have the time of your life, go broke, come back, get a job. This is America, you find a job. I said, yep, you're absolutely right. Now, knock on wood, I'm still here. I'm still in this region. But if I have to get on a plane right now and go back to America, I don't look at that as a failure. Which some people do. Some people think it's a badge of honor to stay here or stay in country X and not have to leave. And if you do have to leave, like you're some type of failure. I don't see it like that. I don't plan on dying here. So at some point I am leaving the Philippines and I'm not coming back. Why? Because the world's a big place, but in the same sense it's a small place. However you want to look at it. I got a lot more exploring to do and only a few years to do it. You know, almost moved to Montana a few years ago. If something crazy comes up, I move to Hollywood right now, tomorrow. Somebody wants me to star in their show, we'll be in Hollywood. And I don't look at it like I'm a failure because I had to leave the Philippines. My gosh. So anyhow, and I'm not saying that's how this gentleman is looking at it, but obviously he doesn't want to go back to that grind. So he's looking at other things. He says, hey, I got two main paths. Number one, I stay here, but I'm going to start to burn my savings slowly. Okay. That's an option, but we also know it's a problem, because if you have an X amount of savings and you're just chipping away and chipping away and chipping away, it's like you're treading water. What do they say about a man who's treading water? At some point, you're going to drown. At some point, the savings runs out. Life ain't getting any cheaper. Cost of living is not getting any cheaper. So when that savings depletes, you're leaving anyhow. It's just inevitable. It's just depending on how much savings you have to supplement whatever you've got coming in. Now look, I'm changing facts and many facts I don't know. If the gentleman's got 20 million in the bank, my gosh, okay, that's plenty, that's enough. If you've got, 200 grand in the bank, at some point that's running out. It's gonna run out. So it's something to think about, right? Stay here, burn savings, and option number two, move back to the US with my old lady and the child and, start over. Or, what do you say? Or she could just stay here, get her a house, and she stays here with the child, and I go work and support them from afar. And that's going to be a big majority of what I'm about to discuss, is how the dynamics of what we just talked about is going to affect the child and how the child is raised. Okay? So that's an option. Some people come here, they don't like it, or they miss the US and they move back. Okay, great. Look at it positive. Hey, we got to live in the Philippines for a year, 6 months. It's a positive thing. It's something you'll be able to tell the stories, and the children to be able to tell the story. So it's a positive thing. If you made it 6 months, don't like it, went back to the States. My buddy, shout out to you, man. Haven't talked to you in a long time. Him and his wife retired, built a big old house. When they finally got the house built, they're sitting in their house. Beautiful mansion. I mean, absolute beautiful mansion. And he said they were sitting on the couch one night, and he kind of looked at his wife kind of looked at him, and I can't remember who spoke first, and said, "Are you bored?" It's like, "Yeah." Are you bored?" "Yeah." "You want to move back to the States?" "Yeah, I thought you wouldn't go for it. I thought you wanted to stay here. Let's go." They made it 6 months here, bored out of their gourd, moved back to the States. Luckily, they were able to sell their mansion, which most people aren't. If you're going to come over here and build a big ass mansion, make sure it's around other rich people where you can sell it if you decide to punch out. You build a big old mansion in your wife's village, you ain't never getting nothing. Zero, because there ain't no buyers. Nobody can afford your mansion. All right, let me focus on what I want you to think about. And everybody's going to have a difference of opinion on this, okay? Years ago, we were talking about, should you raise the kids in the Philippines or raise them in America? I threw it out there, and I thought there was going to be like a majority on one side and a slim vote on the other, and it was like 50-50, right down the middle. Half the people said you're a fool for raising your kids in America. Half the people said you're a fool for raising them in the Philippines. Everybody had valid arguments on both sides of the aisle. It was very interesting. I like doing these research projects, and it just sort of, it was not what I expected, the 50-50 split. And it was quite interesting. But this is what I've learned. There's 3 outcomes with the way children think, and I'll explain. If you leave your child here in the Philippines to be raised by the child's Filipino mother and family, right? That child is going to grow up Filipino with a little caveat over here, with an American dad. Okay, you're not even the tagline. You're just like over here, penciled in. They grew up in the Philippines. They have a Filipino mother. They speak the language. They're raised around the culture, the mannerisms, the way they eat, the way they talk, watching the older men in the village, what they do, the older ladies, what they do. They're Filipino, and you're merely, yeah, she's got an American dad. All right? And you see that here. Option B, okay? The child is raised in America, around American school system, American society, American restaurants, American culture. Then that child becomes an American, living in America, a full 100% American with a Filipino mother. Oh, excuse me, Jesus. With a Filipino mother. The Filipino part becomes very insignificant. Those are just my observations. And I'm not saying it's good, bad, or anything in between. I'm just making my observations. It's not rocket science, but it's things people don't think about. What happens is, with my kids, for example, I'm an American, I'm the dad, but I'm in the Philippines. They have a Filipino mother. Now, how are they being raised? Well, they're more closer to being the Phil-Am, the Filipino American. Those are Phil-Am children. They're sort of split down the middle. Now, it's a battle that I fight every day. Why? Because they have a Filipino mother from the village. We're in the Philippines, so the minute we leave the house, the culture and everything is on them. The things they learn from her, and then being down in her village, her hometown for 2 years, I'm getting edged out. You see what I mean? I'm getting edged out to where they're more Filipino, and I'm just they have an American dad. So if you want it to be 50-50, you've got to be here, just shucking and jiving, hooking and jabbing, trying to impose your culture on them as much as you can in competition with the environment and their mother. Okay? Do you see how that works? Who's winning the battle? Well, it's how you want to look at it. My daughter speaks Bisaya now. She speaks a little bit of Tagalog. Her English is doing, good. Why? Because of me. But take me out of the equation, and I'm off in the desert, sitting in the desert somewhere, and only showing up here for a couple weeks a year. How do you think her English is going to be? It's going to be like Fatima or Flo or anybody else, because she's Filipino. And again, not casting stones. That's just food for thought. So I talk about those three dynamics. It's which way you want to go, which road you want to go. Yeah, you can leave, go work, send money back, but then your kid is pretty much, let's put percentages. They're 90% Filipino. If you plan on moving them to the States in a few years, is that the best path? But if they plan on staying here and you plan on coming here and this is where you're going to live, okay, what's the big deal? What's the big deal? What's the best way? What's the best path? I don't know. I can tell you the path right now, the path that I'm on for these children is I'm staying present as long and unless something breaks bad, I'm not leaving the kids. I don't care where we're at. Okay? If the kids are here, I'm here, they're in school here, it's all good. If I go to the States, they're going with me. Can I guarantee that? No. If I got to go work, I got to go work and bring home the bacon. So that's the things you have to think about, man. When you're talking about your options, yes, you have those options, but how is the child going to be raised? And how is the child going to develop? And how is the child's language skills going to develop if they're not around old single dad, the gringo? Okay? Now, I'll just contrast this. Y'all have been watching our show for the past 2 years. You see the little Upal. Okay, Upal is a 100% village child. His first year, whatever, he basically was with his grandfather most of the time. That's why he loves Fatima's father so much. What's old Tai do? Okay, he'll plow the field a little bit with a carabao, and every night, what's he do? Drink kalafu, get drunk, lay around. What do most of the males in the village do? They do a lot of laying around, lounging around, drinking kalafu. That's what your child grows up seeing. If you just, hey, go live in your village, I'll send you money from abroad. Your kids are going to grow up as villagers, and that's what villagers do. They do a lot of sleeping and not a whole lot of other activities that are productive. So, my kids spent 2 years down there. They know how to navigate the village. If I take a dirt nap, that was by design, but 2 years was enough. 2 years is enough. Now it's time for them to get back into statement of fact. A little bit of higher society, higher level of academics, work ethic, expectations, technology, and that's why we're back up here. All right, that's rambling. There's no script here. I'm not reading a teleprompter. This is just coming to my head. So what would I do? Everybody wants the answer. Everybody wants the answer. My friend, it's about presence. It's about presence. If you have the ability to take your old lady and the kid with you to the States, bite the bullet, do the paperwork, take them with you. B, stay here. Figure out a way to make it. And I think the last thing I would do is go back to America and send my girl from the village money and trust her to raise the child. Because basically you send them money, they're supporting the village. It's not all going to the kid. It's going to buy everybody in the village rice when you're not there. Statement of fact. Your kid's gonna grow up eating rice like everybody else, even though you're sending money to buy filet mignon. That's not how it works. That would be my last option. But there's a lot of people here who do that. I got friends who do that. That's what works for them. That's how they gotta raise their kids and pay the bills, and I respect that. But you wanna know my opinion, what I would try to do first? That's what I would do. Again, with the caveat, if Hollywood calls right now and says, hey man, we need you over here to star in this new show, and we're gonna pay you X amount of dollars, I'd have to go. I'd have to go and do what I got to do because I can't pass up that opportunity. Didn't I tell you I don't have any answers? I ran you around in circles. You thought I had an answer. I don't. All I do is try to invoke thought. You know, and back in the day, I used to work narcotics. Some of y'all know that, some of y'all don't. I always wanted to be Sonny Crockett as a kid, and that dream actually came true. So I had a partner for a while. Shout out to you, man. I hope you're doing well. Hispanic, but his family was Hispanic. he's born and raised in the States. He's an American kid. And his parents purposely did not teach him Spanish because they did not want him to speak with the accent. They thought he might be some prejudice on down the road. They didn't teach him Spanish. They didn't want him to have any of the accent. Well, this old redneck spoke a little Spanish. So everywhere we went, we were like, Sonny Crockett and Tubbs, and all the Mexican dudes would start talking to my partner, blah, 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 and he'd get this deer in the headlight look over at me, and I'd have to explain to him, hey man, you don't speak Spanish, you gotta deal with me. Confused the hell out of some drug dealers, I tell you. Anyhow. Now I'm crunching ice in your ear. Folks, that's all I got. That's all I got. Children are a blessing, 100% a blessing. Whether you plan it or not, they're coming your way. It's an absolute blessing. It's an absolute blessing from God, and now it's up to you just to do the best you can, to raise them beautiful children. And no man can tell you what to do and how to do it, and no man can judge. Whatever your path is, you pick it, go down the path, handle business. Don't worry about what everybody else says or what everybody is doing or their arguments. It don't matter. It's up to you. All right. I got kids in there in the playroom right now. Well, I've been setting the camera up to talk to you fine folks. They want me to come in there and be the horse, get down and get two kids on the back fighting over who gets to ride on the horse. And man, it really messes up your knees at 52. My back is strong, my arms are strong, but these old bony ass knees, my gosh. I can only drive around like the horse for like 10 minutes and then I got to take a horse break. Anyhow, these children. So my old knees, get ready. Maybe I should get some damn knee pads. That's probably what I need. All right. Folks, thanks for listening to my show. Thanks for everything you do for me right here. Certainly appreciate it. We'll see you folks on the next one, and peace out, my friends.